Well, hello there. My name is Mark Miles, and as you all know, I love helping trainers, presenters really take their facilitation and their training game to the next level. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you about the topic of breakout rooms on Zoom. Now, as many of you know, with the COVID pandemic hitting and different technological advances happening, a lot of training, a lot of face-to-face training has been pushed or shifted towards the online space and towards online delivery. Now that's okay, that's fantastic. That is what it is. But as a great trainer going forward, we have to be aware that in order to really stand out in the marketplace, we have to be truly dynamic, empowering, and amazing in not just the face-to-face environment, but also in the online space as well. And many people are starting to get their feet a little bit wet and a little bit more comfortable and starting to set some foundations for themselves in the online delivery space. However, when someone is first starting out in delivering online, one of the biggest mental hurdles that people face is that little challenge of starting to do breakout rooms, because no matter what your confidence level is, sometimes breakout rooms can really feel a little bit intimidating. Now, it can be feel intimidating for a number of different reasons, but we need to realize that in order to create massive levels of engagement in online delivery, we have to create lots and lots of variety. Now, in online delivery, it is a lot harder because you've got basically yourself and you are projecting to a number of participants. Now, in online delivery, you need to be able to vary things up by making such a variety of different styles of activities so that people stay engaged and attuned to what you are actually saying. It is a different environment. It is more of an intense, compressed environment compared to a face to face environment. And getting someone to sit there and just be concentrating for the entire time is quite a challenge. And as a trainer, you have to develop the skills, the knowledge, and the tools to be able to really vary things up to keep people engaged in your session the entire time. And people have less tolerance for just a pure PowerPoint session. They've just got less tolerance for it. So in today's video, let's dive deep into some of the hacks or the mindset that you can have around using breakout rooms to really take your level of engagement to skyrocket if you are delivering training online. All right. So first, grab a pen, write this down. I'm going to cover seven quick points so that you can really master. I said master breakout rooms. This is based on my experience delivering training online for the last year now, and I absolutely love it. I love it, love it, love it. But you've got to have the fundamentals down pat to be able to really get the most out of it. So grab a pen, get ready to write. So first point is the how to do it. The first point is how to do it. Okay. So the first point is if you're setting up breakout rooms, and in terms of number one, functionality, right? So what you want to do is on Zoom down the bottom there, when you find the function of breakout rooms, click on breakout room. Okay, there's going to be a little function that says breakout room in the list provided. If it's not down the bottom, you're going to be able to click on the more button, and the more button is going to list all the things that are not going to fit on the low panel, right? So click on the more button, you're going to find breakout rooms. So you click on breakout rooms, and then it's going to ask you how many rooms do you want, and do you want to assign people manually or automatically? Okay, and what I suggest to people is create between 6 or 7 rooms, depending on how many participants you've got. Okay, and I'll talk more about that in a second. Then it's going to ask you if you want to open the rooms. So you're going to create 6 or 7 rooms, and then it's going to allow you to assign people. So once people are in your meeting, you are able to assign them. So you click on assign on the panel, and it's going to list all the people that you can assign to each room. Okay, so just to recap, number one, quick breakout room function. Then it's going to ask you if you want to create the rooms manually or automatically. And I highly recommend, if you have less than 20 people, definitely want to assign people manually. If you got more than 20 people, you would assign people automatically. All right. And then I recommend creating about 6 or 7 rooms if you've got less than 10 or 20 people. Okay. Now we'll get to assigning people in a moment. Okay. So the first thing is functionality, how to set them up. Okay. Second point. Second point is whenever you are assigning people, ideally assign them into pairs. Okay. Don't have more than 2 people in a room if you can manage it. But generally 2 or 3 people in a room is good. Okay. Now just think about it in a face-to-face environment. A breakout room is essentially putting people in small groups. That's all it is. Okay. So, whatever you think about in a face to face training, creating group activities, this is what it allows you to do. Okay. Third thing. So, the second thing was ideally put people in small groups of 2 or 3. Now, the third thing is always, always, always allocate a time. So, when you're going to put people into a breakout room, you always need to say, all right, we're about to do an activity. I'm going to send you into a breakout room and I'm going to pop you in the room for about 1 minute or 2 minutes or bring you back in 2.5 minutes. It's really important that you give them a time indication. Otherwise, they end up heading to the room and they're wondering, how long are we going to be here? How long have we got for the activity? All right. So, next, point number 4 is when you are finished with the activity, just for your awareness, whenever you click close room, typically the people will be given a 1 minute warning before they are brought back into your actual session. Okay. So just be aware of that 1 minute warning that they are given. Just because you click close room, it is going to give them a 1 minute warning for them to come back. Now you can change that feature in the advanced settings on Zoom. You can have them less than 1 minute or more than 1 minute, but just know that if you click close room, it's going to give them a 1 minute warning. Okay. So next thing, my next tip number 5 is stay out of the room. Stay out of the room. Now, what I mean by that is when you actually send people to a breakout room, you can actually go and visit their room. So if you've got like 4 or 5 rooms, you can actually go and visit each room while they're doing an activity. Now, you would think that that may be a good idea, but the thing is, as soon as you join the room, guarantee the dynamics will change. Okay. So, yes, I know that setting up a breakout room takes a high level of trust because you are trusting that when you send them to the room, that they're actually going to do what you've assigned them to do. Having said that, my experience over my time delivering online is that generally, I would say 99% of the time, people always do the activity, okay? Because they want to maximize the time. And also, generally, if someone's not interested in doing the activity or wasting time, they will be put in enough rooms over time to get the picture. It's like, no, let's take this seriously. Let's do the activity. And other people will hold them accountable. Now, the reason I say don't enter the room and don't visit them is as soon as you enter, it's going to get awkward, it's going to get weird, and people are like, yeah, we're kind of in the middle of something. You don't need to be here. All right. That's generally what happens. Okay. So, my advice is point number 5, don't join the room. There's no need to. Just trust them and know that as long as when you bring everyone back, you do a debrief and you ask them questions like, what's the biggest thing you got from the activity? What did you learn? What did you discover? As long as you debrief afterwards, they will know over time that there's no excuse but to take it seriously. All right. Now, point number 6, resources. All right. This is a mistake or something that I learned through my mistake. But when you send them to a breakout room, they can no longer see your screen. They could no longer see your screen. So if you are doing an activity based on a slide or based on a handout or based on some information you've got up on the screen, be aware that as soon as you send them to the breakout room, they can no longer see it. And they can also no longer see what's in the chat. So you need to be aware of that and make sure that they either take a photograph of what's on your screen or write down what's on your screen, or if you're giving them questions to work on, make sure that they have written down the questions and make sure that they know what the activity is before you send them to the room. Because learn from my mistake, I have sent people to breakout rooms and they've come back and they're like, oh, I forgot what the activity was, or I didn't have access to the resource, or whatever it might be. So make sure that you either email it through to them, or that you get them to write it down, or you get them to take a photograph of it, or a screenshot, or whatever it might be, but make sure that they know what the information is that they need to have before they head to the breakout room. All right, it's critically important. Okay. Next one, number 7, is ideally, in order to break it up, in order to have massive and higher levels of engagement every single time, because as I always talk about in all my videos, the key to engagement is variety and suspense. Variety and suspense. Variety and suspense drive all engagement. Okay. So in order to create variety and suspense as you are delivering online, one of the hacks that you can do, or very simplistic things, is every time you go into a new breakout room, ideally assign different people to different groups, okay? Because it's going to create variety, and people will always be wondering, who am I going to be with next? What's the activity going to be? And they're really going to get a lot more out of it as opposed to just being with the same person every single activity, okay? So hopefully that's made sense for you. Now, just to recap, point number one was the functionality. Number 2 was assign people into small groups, not too large. Number 3 is every time you send them to an activity, time it. Tell them they are going to have 1 minute for the activity, 2 minutes, however long it's going to be. Know that there is going to be a 1 minute warning for them to come back. So when you close the room, there's still going to be a 1 minute warning, and you're still going to be waiting 1 minute for everyone to come back. Next, stay out of the room. There's no need to go into it. Trust your participants. Next, resource visibility. Make sure everyone has visibility on anything that they need in order to do the activity before you send them in. And last of all, ideally change it up. And every time you set an activity, allocate different people to different people. All right. So those are just some simple hacks that you can implement that are going to help you get really great results when you are using breakout rooms. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want any further guidance on how to set them up and do them and all of that, I'm more than happy to help you out. Just shoot me a message, put a comment below, whatever it might be that's appropriate for you. So thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.